In a quiet kingdom surrounded by hills and old stone roads, there lived a man named Aldrin. To the outside world, Aldrin was respected. He was a successful landowner, known for his wealth, his strong voice, and his influence in the village. People greeted him with bowed heads, and few dared to question his word. Inside his home, however, Aldrin was a very different man. He lived with his wife Mara and their only daughter Alira, who had just reached 20 years of age. Alira was gentle, intelligent, and curious about the world beyond the walls of her father's estate. She dreamed of learning, of choosing her own path, of one day building a life shaped by her own decisions. But Aldrin believed something else entirely. To him, Alira was not her own person. She was something to be controlled. He believed that because he was her father, he owned her future, her choices, and even her freedom. He decided what she wore, where she went, and who she spoke to. Over time, his control grew tighter, quieter, and more frightening. He forbade her from leaving the house alone. He dismissed her hopes as foolish fantasies. He locked doors, restricted visitors, and used fear instead of love to keep her obedient. Whenever Alira spoke of independence, Aldrin reminded her that she owed him everything. Mara, Alira's mother, noticed the changes slowly. At first, she thought her husband was only strict, perhaps overly protective. But as weeks turned into months, she began to see the fear in her daughter's eyes. Alira spoke less. She walked carefully. She flinched when Aldrin raised his voice. Still, Aldrin wore his mask well. One morning, Mara left for what was meant to be a short visit to her sister in a nearby town. Aldrin insisted she stay longer, claiming Alira needed discipline and quiet while he handled matters at home. Reluctantly, Mara agreed, unaware of what her absence would reveal. With Mara gone, Aldrin's control intensified. He confined Alira to her room for days at a time, limiting her food, her books, and her contact with the outside world. He told her she would soon be forced into a life he had chosen for her, one that would benefit him and strengthen his status. Alira pleaded, cried, and begged for her mother, but Aldrin ignored her suffering. To him, power mattered more than love. But fate intervened. Mara's visit ended earlier than planned. A deep unease pulled her back home without warning. As she approached the estate, the house felt strangely silent. No servants moved about. No lights glowed warmly in the windows. When Mara entered, she heard her daughter crying behind a locked door. What she discovered shattered her. She found Alira weak, frightened, and imprisoned by the very man who was meant to protect her. The truth spilled out in broken words. The control. The threats. The stolen freedom. Mara's grief turned quickly into fury. She confronted Aldrin without fear. For the first time, his authority failed him. His excuses sounded hollow. His anger could not silence the truth any longer. Mara knew that this was not a private family matter. This was a crime against trust, against duty, and against the laws of the kingdom. That same night, Mara took Alira and went straight to the royal court. The king of the land was known for his fairness and his unwavering belief that no title placed a person above the law. When Mara stood before him, trembling but resolute, she told everything. Every detail of control, confinement, and cruelty was laid bare. The court fell silent. The king ordered an immediate investigation. Guards were sent to Aldrin's estate. Witnesses were questioned. Servants spoke of locked doors and raised voices. The truth could no longer be hidden behind wealth or influence. Aldrin was summoned before the throne. Gone was the confident landowner. Standing before the king, he was small, exposed, and powerless. He tried to defend himself, claiming parental rights, discipline, and authority. But the king answered firmly that fatherhood was a responsibility, not a weapon. The judgment was swift and just. Aldrin was stripped of his lands and titles. He was banished from the kingdom and forbidden from ever returning. His name was recorded not as a man of influence, but as a warning of what happens when power is abused. Alira and Mara were placed under the protection of the crown. Alira was given the chance to study, to heal, and to rediscover herself beyond fear. Slowly, her voice returned. Her steps grew lighter. For the first time, she felt safe. The kingdom learned a powerful lesson. That evil does not always wear the face of a stranger. Sometimes it hides behind authority, tradition, and silence. But truth, once revealed, has a strength that fear cannot defeat. And from that day forward, the king made it clear to all his people, no one, not even a father, stands above justice.